Matt, why did you choose to become an entrepreneur? You were working at Google before you started your own businesses, correct?
Correct. It's a good question. I don't think there's an alternative for me.
Yeah.
I like to say I'm unemployable.
Uh-huh.
There's nothing else I could possibly doing as far as like having a job. I'd much rather, control my future and my destiny and create jobs and more so just create a lifestyle conducive to, how I want to live and work and travel. And it's definitely like a long story as to like getting involved, but I mean, I really didn't even know what entrepreneurship was until college.
Yeah.
And apparently it's something that I had always had.
Yeah.
Because, started like flipping baseball cards and like selling waters at events and like all those things like as a young kid. And my dad's an entrepreneur. I just thought he was a businessman.
Mm-hmm.
But, in reality, he's an entrepreneur and my mom's a teacher and they both went to Penn State, as did many of my family. So as you would have it, I was playing sports my whole life and, I was big into soccer and I got recruited by a couple places, but didn't get recruited by Penn State. And so I ended up going to play soccer D3 down in Virginia Wesleyan because I wanted to like live the beach life and do all that.
Mm-hmm.
And it just wasn't a good place for me. So within 2 years, I transferred to Penn State, and that's where I really got involved with entrepreneurship.
Yeah. So what was the first business that you started? Did you start the marketing agency or Philly phone repair?
It's a funny story. So neither. Back at Penn State is when I started my first company, and it was with a friend. I started a party bus company.
Uh-huh.
Literally it started as just like transportation.
Yeah.
And then it just stemmed into like us throwing parties and like having parties and like taking people to parties. And so my friend had a bus, and I was actually, when I went to Penn State, I got heavily involved with everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like anything and everything I could like sink my teeth into, whether it be like different clubs or organizations or extracurriculars or, I am sports. I didn't want to have a night where I wasn't doing something. And, 6 months into like my second semester, someone approached me and said, we should start an entrepreneurship club. Like, I want you to like be the founder, be the face and name behind it. And I was like, sure, why not? What's entrepreneurship though?
Yeah.
Like, what is this? And so I had to do a lot of learning and find out more about how I could help others with entrepreneurship, even though I wasn't an entrepreneur. And that led into me promoting the entrepreneurship club the following fall semester. And one of the first kids who came up to me, my friend Keith Summers, one of my good friends still, he was like, oh, entrepreneurship, like, I'm an entrepreneur. He's like, I just bought this bus.
Yeah.
I want to turn it into a party bus. Like, do you want to help me out with it? And I was like, yeah, let's do it.
Nice.
It was insane.
Yeah. Were you guys like in a registered business that you had, or was it just kind of like a...
Yeah, I mean, he knew more about that stuff than me at the time, because his dad, had started multiple businesses, and so he got like, the business license. He got like a commercial driver's license, and we found a driver. We found like a DJ. We got insurance for the bus.
Yeah.
We didn't get like the proper liability insurance that we needed though to like make it a legitimate thing. It's like, who's gonna insure these kids? Like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And so whenever he graduated, we did pretty well with it.
How did you guys learn about all those different things that you needed? Did you seek out mentorship? Did you just look it up on the web to see, what I need to start a business? Or?
So he knew most of the more tangible paperwork side of things. Mm-hmm. And so I was just someone who was ready to hustle. Like, I was ready to do whatever it took. And so I started teaching myself like web design and graphic design and like getting involved with the social media and doing like a lot of guerrilla marketing. I was sort of all over the place with managing different aspects of the marketing side of the business.
Yeah. And
he knew more like the financial and like, the paperwork, the technical stuff. Mm-hmm. So that's really how we started working together. Most of what I've learned is through trial and error and just like testing things and learning as I go.
Yeah. Entrepreneurship is, you can't learn about it, you just have to do it.
Right.
That's how you learn.
Right.
So, do you guys still have the party bus? Is it still around?
No, he wanted me to take over. We got pulled over multiple times
on
this thing. I do not know how we didn't get in trouble.
Uh-huh.
There were some risky times that we were out on that thing, but it was a lot of fun. I mean, we were just taking like 18-year-old, college fraternity, sorority kids around to like parties or concerts. And that just got wild and out of control. And we had a lot of fun, but like he graduated and was like, we were the same age, but he was a year ahead of me because I transferred. But he wanted me to take over whenever he left and like manage the bus. And at this point, I had already started my second company and was like worried about the liability side of things with the party bus company. So I was like, I can't do it, dude.
Yeah.
So
I've seen a lot of those like promotional companies for college students. There was like Want to Drink in Philly for a while. But yeah, just
that's what it was called, Want to Drink?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It's just there was a lot of liability with college students, it seems. To revolve around that the business of partying with kids, and whenever there's alcohol involved, who knows where it's going to go. So.
Right. Looking back, it was a nightmare, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. How did you figure out that people wanted a party bus? Did you guys just, since you were college students, you kind of just knew what was what people wanted, or were students talking about like, oh, it'd be great if there was a party bus company that could drive us to parties?
I mean, I think most companies are started by an existing problem and somebody trying to find a solution for it.
Yeah.
And so that's really, how Keith and I both operated. And he realized, because he was in a frat, and this is pre-Uber days.
Yeah.
And most people didn't have a car up there.
Pre-Uber days were tough. I went to school in the city, and you'd call a cab and you'd be lucky if it got there in an hour and a half. So, and then they weren't even guaranteed. And then if they didn't show up in that time, of course you would just leave. The cab would show up, and then they'd blacklist your phone number from calling cabs to the cab company. So,
really?
Yeah. If you weren't
That's
there when the
tragic.
cab showed up, but it was like your guy showed up 2 hours after he was supposed to, and yeah. So it.
Now we're like, what? I gotta wait 7 minutes for someone to pick me up? Are you kidding me?
It's like he's not turning the corner already. So.
We have it easy. We've got it good these days.
Totally.
But it's like we would watch like a pack of sorority girls walking like a mile to the frat house together in like the freezing cold. We're like,
yeah,
that's not the way to do it.
Yeah.
So we start picking them up and driving them to the frat house, or driving them to the Bryce Jordan Center for like concerts, and downtown to bars. So really all over.
Yeah. Almost there could be like an Uber for party buses now. That could be.
Invent it. That's you. You've got it.
So you started your second business while you were doing that. Which business was that?
So do you remember when like the iPhones came out?
Yes.
It was like the 3GS.
Oh yeah.
So I got the iPhone 4. I used to be Android everything.
Yeah.
And then I got the iPhone 4, and then I got my first MacBook.
I'm Team Android.
He's definitely, it's got this green text.
Born and
it's
bred.
weird. And so I broke my phone, cracked the screen, and my friend had already been fixing phones, like fixing cracked screen phones. And I was like, hey, can you fix mine? And he did it, and I watched. I was like, that was really cool. I was like, are you making good money? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, having fun, meeting a lot of people. I was like, that sounds cool. He's like, I'm actually going to go work for them this summer for like an internship. It was like, it's called iCracked. It's basically like Uber for iPhone repair. Really cool.
Oh, nice.
They came out of Y Combinator, like the startup accelerator out in Cali. But he went to work for them for like a summer internship, and he was like, take over while I'm gone. And at the time, like, Keith had just graduated with the party bus, and I was like applying to internships, and I got like an unpaid internship with a startup, and I was like, I need to make money. So I was working at the local diner as well. Shout out to the grilled stickies. Those are epically famous at Penn State.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'd rather do something that's like entrepreneurial. So I took over and started repairing phones, and I did more like the marketing side that he wasn't doing. So I got pretty busy. Like I built a website and started using social media a lot more, and like some grassroots marketing. And
You taught yourself all of that?
so he wanted me to practice with him the first time. Like he didn't give me much coaching or guidance, but he was like, this is kind of how it works. Let's walk you through fixing your phone. And then I broke mine trying to put it together. And so I learned through trial and error.
Definitely been there.
But really, I think I performed best when my back's up against the wall. And, I was in a position where, he had already lined me up a repair. And so I went and like was just shaking tremendously and like sweating and like,
don't break this phone.
There's a lady there with her kid, and it took me like an hour and a half, and I fixed this phone and it worked. And then I just started watching more videos and like just getting better at it, and then started doing the marketing. And then he was supposed to come back for that fall, which was my 5th year, and he didn't. So I took over and went like full time into it, and full time meaning like I was still running the club, I was like full-time in classes
Yeah.
and pretty involved in some organizations, and then started another company that fall semester.